So 43% of designers spend most of their prototyping activities on vibe coding, and 37% have never done it once, not even a little bit. Now, we've run the annual design tool survey since 2017, and we distribute it primarily to our UX Tools newsletter audience, in addition to a few of my own channels. And that UX Tools audience is made up of nearly 100,000 designers who have subscribed to us well before the beginning of this AI boom. In fact, for years, it was much more of a traditional UX design audience. I'm talking about people working at startups, enterprises, banking, healthcare, government, and across the world in 18 different regions, not just the San Francisco and New York City tech darlings. And we've done a pretty good job because our survey's claim to fame was being contacted by the United States Department of Justice to use our data during their audit of the Adobe Figma acquisition, which is a story that's a little bit surreal, but I do take that responsibility seriously. And we always open source the data. It is freely available for you to download thanks to our sponsors, Mobbin, Framer, MagicPath, D-Scout, Magic Patterns, and Dazzle. Please check them out in the description. They have made all of this possible. But starting this year, we decided to start capturing smaller quarterly surveys. The annual snapshots aren't as helpful right now. Everything's moving too fast. And this quarter's theme is prototyping. We surveyed 1,478 respondents in the month of March across the entire world. And the data shows that design is fracturing into 3 groups, each expressing a different feeling about their careers. That's satisfaction, confidence, and anxiety. But before we get into that, I want to show you the top 10 tools being reported by our respondents because I think the toolkit explains a lot. Now take a look at this, because 5 of the 10 most used weekly design tools are now AI first, according to respondents. And 2 years ago, that probably would have been referred to as a hot take. And taking a look at this chart, Claude sits right behind Figma at number 2. That's at least 50% of designers who are using it every week. And we also see that Claude Code is sitting at number 4, ahead of FigJam. FigJam, by the way, dominated our survey in the whiteboarding category last year. We gave them an award for that. Think about that for a second. An AI coding terminal is more embedded in designer workflows than the most popular whiteboarding tool on the market, and it happened in 12 months. Now, 71% say they have either added AI or gone AI central in the last 6 months. That is a huge majority. And we're hearing about it every week, not just on social media, but through the many conversations that we have. That's Shopify running coded prototypes in design reviews instead of Figma files, or tools like Cursor achieving $2 billion in annual revenue, which doubled in 3 months. Or more obscure things like an open source repo of 31 design systems. I'm seeing Apple, Spotify, Airbnb, Linear. These are reverse engineered design systems created as markdown files that you can feed to your coding agent. Amelia Wattenberger is building the future of developer tools. She started as a front-end dev, and recently she named something that I think many of us are experiencing right now.
I think a lot of developers are mourning right now the flow state that you get when you're like a master of your tools. The journey for developers is going to be building tools and figuring out workflows that bring the flow back. But the work itself is going to look different.
This rapid installation of AI tooling is redefining many designers' toolkit, and here's what it's doing to the designers who are using it. 43% are using AI coding tools more than half the time, and 37% aren't using them at all. And inside of those numbers, AI coders make up 43.8% of respondents. More than half their building time is AI-generated code. And 31% say it's most or nearly all of their output. Their daily workflow looks closer to their engineering counterparts than ever before. Then we have the dabblers, sitting at 18.5%. They are experimenting, but they are not fully committed. They're kind of our swing group. And where they land over the next 6 months is going to reshape this whole ratio. And lastly, we have the holdouts sitting at 37%. They're not doing any vibe coding, they're not experimenting, they're just completely absent. But let's break down AI coding by role. And at the very top, we have design engineers sitting at about 80%, and I would say that tracks. And then we have lead or principal designers just underneath at about 56%. We have non-designer roles, I'm thinking design adjacent, that's product managers, sitting at about 50%. But then you have managers and directors, vibe coding at about 46%. That statistic surprised me because Underneath them are your traditional IC software designers. These are folks sitting at about 35%. And then you have researchers sitting at about 26%. So researchers have the lowest adoption and the highest anxiety. We'll get into that. But this role I want to call out is also our smallest group of respondents. So please treat that as directionally only. We call that out in our methodology. But the rest of our data is statistically significant. And Joshua Puckett, an industry vet from places like Dropbox and Wealthfront, had this to say to me about AI coding's impact on the design role.
Frankly, design is, or has historically been in many ways, like the easiest of the EPD triangle, right? We've had the least responsibility. And now, for the first time, many designers are having to do some of the responsibility that historically product managers or engineers have done. Those things that designers now have to do, I hope that it builds empathy and an appreciation for like, oh, maybe their job was actually a little bit harder than I gave them credit for.
Lovable made vibe coding engineer an actual job title, and Google just coined vibe designing. I don't know if I like that. And Ramp just posted a designer job listing that starts in the models, prototypes with AI, and then brings it into Figma. And that is a great example of the traditional workflow sequences starting to reverse. And this isn't about early adopters versus the laggards. This is three parallel realities happening at the same time. And when I talk to designers, many of them don't know which one they're standing in yet. And a lot of them don't feel like they have a choice. But the split isn't just about who's working in code. There was another thing that showed up in the data. More and more designers are building tools for themselves. In fact, 59% of designers report building their own tool, app, or utility in the last 6 months. And not necessarily just for their company. Many of them did this for themselves. 1 in 4 does it regularly, and 30% want to but have not started. And this intent to try group is 3 times larger than the never will group. We are starting to approach a reality where custom tool building isn't this niche category on Tech Bro Twitter anymore. Hannah An leads design at Superpower.
Leads video production at Superpower. Didn't have any code experience. I've never coded before in my life. I just like set up a GitHub repo. I just tried using Claude Code, and then look at this like Premiere Pro plugin that I've made, where I have all our media assets that I can deploy to all our video editors. And it's like, look at it, I made it in the style of Spotify as well. And I was looking at it and I was playing around with it, and I was like, holy shit, like this is really impressive. And he's never touched code before in his life.
And on a weekend in March, a single text rendering library spawned 10 creative forks. You saw these spring physics text or dragon animations. Pablo Stanley made a cursor is lava demo. And Ramp just published their own numbers, saying 99.5% of their team is active on AI tools. 84% are using coding agents weekly. 1,500 apps have shipped on their internal platform in 6 weeks, and 800 different builders across the entire company. And this number surrounding custom tool building has kind of changed how I interpret this whole survey, because designers aren't just using these AI tools. They are now making things, both for the joy of it and the utility. And for many designers, that instinct has always been there. AI tools seem to just be removing some of the friction. But if the instinct is here and the tools are here, then what is actually stopping people? Now, this was a multiple choice question, and the #1 blocker reported was time at 57%. And I'm not surprised. This tracks with what I'm hearing in conversations, where many designers are telling me they feel almost too employed to spend time experimenting or learning. And 53% feel there are too many tools to evaluate. They feel overwhelmed, and I understand that. Meanwhile, 52% say they're too concerned about the output quality to adopt it meaningfully. These are the top 3 blockers, all within 3.5 points. But also, I'm hearing people describe a new sort of search for meaning amongst all the new automation.
Agents aren't gonna eat ice cream for me, because there would be no point in that, right? Like, the point of me eating ice cream is like because it's delicious and I enjoy it. And you can't automate that.
So where does the tool end and the craft of design begin. We're seeing design systems conferences pivoting from documentation to governance. How do you govern AI that uses your design system as infrastructure? And Cursor shipped an agent-first IDE, while teams aren't even finished onboarding to the previous version. We're seeing tools like Linear, PostHog, and Adio shipping these agent chats as first citizen entry points. And again, 46.6% of managers are vibe coding. They are making time for themselves, while the ICs that they manage are doing it at a lesser rate. And so I would say if you are a manager and you are not making time for your team to do this, you are the bottleneck. But all of this adds up to something else that we can measure. How are designers feeling about their careers? And what is very interesting to me is that designers who are heavily AI coding reported feeling measurably more satisfied with their work. Designers doing no AI coding reported a 5.93 out of 10 satisfaction rating, while heavy vibe coders report a 7.39 satisfaction rating. It appears that the more designers build with AI, the happier they are with their workflows. And if I'm honest, with as loud as the online criticism can be, I did not expect that. And again, our respondents are sourced from all over the world and all shapes and sizes of companies. 50% of design engineers report feeling more valuable on their teams, and only 10.6% feel less secure about the profession, compared to 17% of our small group of researchers who report feeling more valuable, and 39% of them feeling less secure. Now, the thing is, IC designers and researchers are the largest groups in most design orgs. And because of that, they appear to be the most exposed. I talked to Jenny Wen, who works on design at Anthropic.
The UX designer, non-visual designer role it does sort of feel outdated at this current moment. I think because that role almost feels that role has always almost felt like PM to me in some ways. I think there's some merit in having great taste and not necessarily having to be the person that executes all the time.
If you're just someone with great taste and no ability to execute, you're just kind of a critic.
Yeah.
Anthropic's own research, a randomized trial of 52 engineers, found AI-assisted learners scored 17% lower on mastery, and the biggest gap there was debugging, which this is a different role, but that number could sit right next to our own satisfaction data, and I would actually love to examine which cost is higher. Now, my career started in the editor. I prefer to work this way, but again, I did not expect it to show up in the data this clearly. So AI coding workflows are measurably more satisfied, and while I can't precisely prove causation, it does appear that the people who aren't doing it aren't nearly as happy. There's probably a bunch of other reasons for that too. If you're in that 37.7%, I do not think that's a bad thing. There are valid reasons. Your workplace hasn't made room. The tools are moving too fast. The output's not there yet. And we talk to many enterprise teams who are still at the lunch and learn phase. That is real. But here's what I'd ask you to consider. If you're in that group and you reject that this is happening in the broader industry at the speed with which it appears to be installing, and you reject that you're becoming part of the minority, that's where I grow concerned for you. And not in a FOMO way, and I mean that. I'm just trying to share with you what the data is saying and what we are hearing every week. This installation phase is moving faster than any technological shift we've seen in the software or design fields, and every veteran I talk to agrees. And in my company, we are trying to wrestle with this. Because if people start to feel shut out from a field they love, how can we build bridges? And I don't have the answer yet. We've done courses before, but what I've learned is that big distribution plus courses is a great way to make money, but it is not a very good way to make impact. Course completion rates are abysmally low across the design field. So I am figuring that out. Now, this data is open sourced at survey.uxtools.co. You can read the report, you can download the raw CSV, we've got an open API, or your AI agents can actually query the MCP we built for it. And our full methodology is published, so if you think we're wrong about something, you have everything you need to prove it. So we've done this since 2017, but this is our first quarterly edition, so I am open to requests on which theme we should tackle next. Ultimately, please stay curious. There are links in the description below. Please check out our sponsors, and I will see you next time.